Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let me ask you something that might make your chest tighten for a second. Have you ever felt like a woman was drawn to you, almost magnetically, but she never actually said it? She laughs with you longer than anyone else. She remembers tiny details about you. She finds reasons to be around you. Yet when it comes to openly admitting her feelings, silence. And that silence can drive a man crazy. Before we go deeper, take one quick second to subscribe to the channel and like this video, because what you're about to understand about female psychology could completely change how you read attraction. Most men believe that if a woman likes them, she'll simply say it. Direct, clear, obvious. But women don't always operate that way, especially when the feelings are real. A woman who truly values a man often becomes more careful, not less. She doesn't rush. She observes. She studies your reactions. She protects her emotional investment the way someone protects something fragile. And that's where men often miss the moment. You're looking for a loud confession, while she's quietly choosing you in 100 subtle ways. Psychologically, attraction for many women develops through emotional safety. When she begins to feel that safety with you, something interesting happens. Her behavior shifts in ways that are almost invisible unless you know what to look for. She begins paying attention to you differently. Not the casual attention people give strangers. Not the polite interest someone gives a coworker. I'm talking about focused attention, the kind that reveals emotional investment. And here's the uncomfortable truth most men never hear. By the time a woman openly says she likes you, she usually decided that long before. Women often choose emotionally before they speak logically. The feelings settle first, the words come later. So when a man is waiting for a verbal signal, he may already be standing inside the answer. What you're about to hear are the subtle signs that reveal something powerful. She may have already chosen you, even if she hasn't admitted it yet. And once you understand these signals, the confusion between you and her suddenly starts making sense. Because attraction, when it's real, rarely announces itself loudly. It reveals itself quietly, through behavior most men overlook. And the first sign begins with something so simple that almost every man ignores it, even though it exposes exactly where her attention truly lives. One of the clearest signs she may have already chosen you is the way her attention keeps returning to you, even when it doesn't need to. Attention is one of the most honest currencies of human psychology. People naturally invest it where their emotions are quietly attached. When a woman feels nothing for a man, her attention behaves normally. Conversations stay brief. Her focus moves easily to other people, other topics, other moments. But when something inside her begins leaning toward you, her attention becomes selective. She notices things about you that others miss. Maybe you mention a random detail about your childhood weeks ago, and she brings it up again casually, almost like it mattered. Maybe she remembers how you take your coffee, or what kind of music you once said helps you relax. These details seem small, almost insignificant, but psychologically, they reveal something deeper: mental space. When someone occupies mental space in our mind, we store pieces of them, their preferences, their stories, their habits. And when a woman remembers those pieces without effort, it means you're present in her thoughts even when you're not physically around. Now here's where many men misunderstand this. They assume attraction must look dramatic, big flirting, obvious compliments, clear signals. But many women express interest through attentiveness rather than boldness. She listens carefully when you speak. Her eyes stay focused a little longer. When a group conversation happens, her attention naturally drifts back toward you, even when she tries not to. It's not something she's necessarily planning, it's something her mind does automatically. You might notice her asking small follow-up questions about things you mentioned earlier, or laughing more easily at your jokes than others in the room. These aren't random reactions, they're emotional indicators. When someone consistently tracks your words, your mood, your stories, it often means they're emotionally invested in understanding you. And understanding is one of the earliest stages of attraction. A woman who has quietly chosen a man often becomes deeply curious about him. Not in an interrogating way, in a natural, flowing way that feels effortless. But the next sign reveals something even stronger, because once her attention locks onto you, something else begins to change in her behavior, something most men mistake for coincidence. She starts finding reasons to be around you, even when no obvious reason exists. And that subtle shift reveals far more than words ever could. There's a moment in attraction when proximity stops being accidental. This is something many men overlook because it feels too simple to mean anything. But psychologically, it's incredibly revealing. When a woman begins choosing you emotionally, she starts placing herself in your orbit. Not aggressively, not obviously, but consistently. You might notice she shows up in places where conversations with you naturally happen. Maybe she lingers a little longer after a group interaction. Maybe she finds casual reasons to continue talking when the conversation could easily end. These moments often look harmless on the surface, but human behavior rarely repeats without a reason. If someone repeatedly positions themselves near you, it's usually because their mind associates your presence with a positive emotional experience. Comfort, curiosity, excitement. Now here's the interesting part most men misunderstand. A woman who genuinely likes you may actually become more subtle about her proximity, not less. Why? Because real attraction carries emotional risk. If she openly chased your attention too strongly and felt rejected, it could hurt her sense of emotional security. So instead, she moves closer in quieter ways. She chooses the seat near you. She continues a conversation after everyone else walks away. She replies quickly when you reach out, but rarely starts with something overly bold. It's not manipulation, it's caution mixed with interest. Her behavior becomes a balance between curiosity and emotional protection. You might even notice that when you leave a room, her energy subtly shifts. Conversations lose some of their spark, attention drifts, and when you return, her focus seems to brighten again. These small emotional shifts reveal something powerful. Your presence affects her internal state. And when someone's presence changes our emotional state, it means they matter more than we might admit. But the next sign goes even deeper than proximity, because once a woman begins feeling emotionally drawn to a man, something fascinating happens inside her communication style. She begins revealing pieces of herself that she doesn't normally show people. And that quiet vulnerability is one of the strongest signals that her feelings may already be far ahead of her words. When a woman begins trusting a man emotionally, her conversations with him start changing in subtle but powerful ways. At first, interactions might feel light and casual, normal topics, friendly exchanges, nothing particularly revealing. But once she begins feeling a deeper connection, the emotional depth of her communication slowly expands. She starts sharing things that aren't part of everyday small talk. Maybe she talks about something that stressed her recently. Maybe she reveals a childhood memory that shaped how she sees relationships. Maybe she admits a fear, a goal, or a personal struggle she rarely discusses openly. These moments might appear ordinary, but psychologically they carry enormous meaning. Because vulnerability is selective. People do not open emotional doors for everyone. They open them for individuals who feel safe enough to witness what's inside. And when a woman allows you to see those deeper layers, it's often a quiet signal that she values your presence in her emotional world. What makes this sign even more important is the tone behind it. She isn't just talking, she's watching how you respond. Does he listen? Does he understand? Does he judge? Your reactions become emotional data she uses to measure trust. If your responses show patience, empathy, and respect, something powerful begins forming beneath the surface. Emotional safety. And emotional safety is the foundation where attraction becomes attachment. Now here's something most men never realize. A woman might open up emotionally long before she openly expresses romantic feelings. Because sharing personal thoughts feels safer than confessing attraction directly. Confession creates pressure. Vulnerability creates connection. So instead of saying, "I like you," she might show you who she really is. She lets you see her thoughts, her perspective, her experiences. And in doing that, she quietly invites you into a space most people never reach. But the next sign reveals an even clearer shift. Because when a woman has emotionally chosen a man, something unexpected happens to her behavior around him. She becomes both more comfortable and slightly more nervous at the same time. And that fascinating contradiction reveals more truth than any direct statement ever could. There is a fascinating contradiction that appears when a woman is deeply drawn to someone. She becomes more relaxed around you, and at the same time, slightly more self-aware. Most men only notice one side of this. They see the comfort, the laughter, the easy conversations that seem to flow without effort. She might tease you playfully or share jokes that create a natural rhythm between you. Comfort like this doesn't appear instantly. It develops when someone feels emotionally safe. But alongside that comfort, there are small signals of nervous energy. Maybe she adjusts her hair when you're talking. Maybe her voice changes slightly when you give her direct attention. Maybe she smiles a little longer than necessary after a compliment. These moments are subtle, but they reveal something important happening internally. Your opinion matters to her. When someone's opinion matters, we naturally become a little more aware of how we appear around them. Not because we're pretending to be someone else, but because we want to present the best version of ourselves. This blend of ease and nervousness creates a unique dynamic. She feels comfortable enough to be herself, but invested enough to care how you see her. Psychologists often describe this as emotional relevance. Your presence carries weight in her mind. She notices when you're paying attention. She notices when you're distracted. She notices when you laugh, when you disagree, when you approve. And that awareness shapes how she behaves around you. But here's the deeper layer most men miss. If she didn't care, none of this would exist. Indifference produces neutrality, calm, flat interactions with no emotional fluctuations. But attraction introduces emotional movement. Energy rises and falls. Attention sharpens. Reactions become slightly more animated. And when you start noticing this pattern, comfort mixed with subtle nervousness, it often means her feelings are already developing beneath the surface. Yet the final sign reveals the most powerful shift of all. Because when a woman has truly chosen someone emotionally, she begins doing something that quietly places him in a different category than every other man around her. And once you recognize this last sign, her intentions become almost impossible to misunderstand. The final sign is subtle, but once you recognize it, it changes how you see everything. A woman who has emotionally chosen you begins prioritizing you in ways that feel natural rather than dramatic. This doesn't mean she suddenly reorganizes her entire life around you. Healthy attraction doesn't erase independence. Instead, it shows up in quiet decisions. She makes time for conversations with you even when she's busy. She replies with thought rather than indifference. When you suggest spending time together, she finds ways to make it happen instead of offering excuses. These choices may appear ordinary on the surface, but psychologically, they reveal something deeper: preference. In a world full of distractions, people invest their time where their emotions feel most rewarded. If she consistently chooses to spend that time engaging with you, it's rarely accidental. Even more revealing is how she reacts when you're not around. She might send you something that reminded her of you. A joke, a story, a small observation from her day. These moments signal that you exist in her thoughts beyond the immediate interaction. And that's powerful. Because attraction becomes real when someone carries your presence into moments where you aren't physically there. Now here's the truth many men struggle to accept. A woman who has chosen you emotionally may still move slowly. Not because she's unsure, but because real connections often develop with patience. She wants to see consistency, stability, emotional maturity. She's asking herself one quiet question again and again. Is this man someone I can truly trust with my emotions? And your actions answer that question far louder than words ever could. So if you begin noticing these signs, her attention, her proximity, her vulnerability, the comfort mixed with nervous energy, and the way she naturally prioritizes time with you, there's a strong chance something meaningful is already unfolding. She may not be saying it directly, but sometimes the most honest feelings are revealed long before they're spoken. And the men who understand that are the ones who never miss the moment when a woman has already chosen them.